that portable power station that you spent so much money on for an emergency sitting in your garage, a paperweight, useless when disaster strikes? Probably because you took care of it the way that I would take care of it. Today, Jonathan's going to show you how to take care of it so that your emergency power station can last for many years and be reliable when you need it the most.
Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene, and today we are going to talk about something that's incredibly important, and that's the proper care and feeding of power stations. Because if you were to listen to me, I'd just take it and put it on a shelf someplace and not worry about it until disaster strikes. But Jonathan would never let that happen because he knows so much more about this stuff than I do. So today, Jonathan is going to enlighten us on the proper care and feeding of your power station.
So no matter what brand you bought, or no matter what chemistry, there's two main chemistries out there, the lithium iron phosphate and the lithium nickel manganese cobalt, also usually called NMC. It doesn't really matter. For the discussion today, these same principles apply to both of these. I'm not going to debate the virtues of one over the other or one brand over the other. We're talking about things that we can do to make sure these last well, that we take care of them in a way that we'll have them when we need them most.
Do you see why this is hard for me? Because even the terminology he uses is rough. So, John, one of the most important things that you and I have issues about is temperature control, because our power stations get premium real estate when it comes to storing them.
And absolutely they should. Now it can't take away your space, but one of the things that can really do damage to a power station is temperature, and that can be low temperature or high temperature. Obviously, we want that somewhere in the middle. We want them stored in a place not above 95 if possible, not below 32 if possible. So if they're stored at room temperature or somewhere in the 50 to 60 degree range, that's probably ideal. But temperature is one thing that can really kill them. And especially if you're charging one of these power stations that's been sitting in a frozen truck for a week, you need to get this warmed back up before you do that charging. Also, if you're discharging at high temperatures, that can do a lot of damage. Now, these power stations are our servants. They take care of needs that we have, and sometimes those needs take us into these kinds of environments. But to the extent we can, we want to keep those temperatures moderated.
So now one of the other things that John is always doing, he talks about something called the depth of discharge.
Right.
Why don't you explain to me what the depth of discharge is?
Okay, and it's pretty simple. It's how much you discharge that battery as a percentage of the total. So you really don't want to discharge a battery from 100% to 0, and most of your battery management systems won't allow you to do that anyway. But the wider those swings are, the more you're going to damage the battery. Now, you're not going to do that in a short period of time. If you need that, if you need to go to 100 down to 20 or even a little lower, if it'll let you for a crisis situation, that's what it's here to do. I like to run them down to maybe 50% or 40% and then back up. And I don't usually charge them up to 100%. So I keep those smaller, and that extends the storage life, extends the usable life of your power station.
Okay, let's talk about something called the state of charge, or the SOC, during storage.
And that applies to most of us because most of us aren't using these every day. Maybe some people are, but most of us have these set aside so that they're there when we need them. So an ideal state of charge is 40 to 60% if you're putting that in storage. Now, I like to run mine just a little higher than that, between 60 and 70%, because I am a prepper, and when I need this, I want as much energy as I can. But when we're storing them over a long period of time, we don't want to store them clear full, and we definitely don't want to store them empty. Those are recipes for harming the machines more than we need to. So somewhere in the middle there, and then about every 3 months, I like to pull them out and just play with it. Yeah.
Nurture them.
Just plug something into it, make sure it's working, and then make sure it's charging. And then I get it back in that like 60 to 70% is the place I like.
Now, if we knew that something might be coming, if we were preparing for a hurricane or we knew that there was some type of a power outage coming, we would charge these all the way up. Or if we were taking them camping so that we could play with them, we would charge them all the way up.
Right.
It's only when we're storing them that we want to keep them that 40 to 60%, just for the health of the battery. But yeah, it's not going to hurt them, right?
All right.
So when I want to use it, it's 100% because I need power when I need power. And you know, the only thing I really care about is that when I plug something in here, it works. It's his job to make sure that that happens.
Exactly
Okay,
right.
now what about the turbo, boost, or hypercharging modes? Tell me about that.
And that's a great question, because a lot of the units out there today, they really boast these really fast charge times. The reality is, if you can charge it slower, it's much better for the machine. And there are times when you do want that fast charging. If you know you only have a short period of time, and most of these units will give you an option to charge fast or charge slow. Charging slow is much healthier for the battery, but when you need that turbo or that boost or hypercharging, it's good to have that, and it's not going to kill it to do that a few times, but to do it all the time is probably not ideal.
Okay, and I was just thinking about something. You talk about charge cycles. So every battery has a number of charge cycles that it's rated for?
Right, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if something has 600 charge cycles, what does that mean?
That means you can charge it, and this standard varies a little bit between manufacturers. Some of them are 70%, from 100% down to 30%. Most of them are 100% down to 20%, or an 80% discharge, depth of discharge. 80% is more the standard, but there are some that use the 70%. And you just need to be aware that you really don't want to maximize that unless you need it.
So the better I take care of it, the more theoretical charge cycles I could get out
Exactly.
of it. Okay.
Exactly right.
Okay, now let's talk about neglect. And we know that I am really good at the neglect piece of it, but what are the biggest real world killers when it comes to neglecting our power stations?
Really just some of the things that we've just talked about. Pull it out every 3 months. Some of the saddest stories I've heard on power stations, people call me and they say, I bought this 5 years ago and I just put it away and I haven't looked at it and it's dead and it won't charge. Well, yeah, that's called neglect. Anytime we're not actively managing it, and we're not talking every day, we're talking, I like quarterly, some people say it should be every month, whatever works for you. We all have busy lives, and so to me quarterly is fine, and we only need a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes to plug it in, plug something into it, make sure it's working, and then charge it back up for a few minutes. It really doesn't take much time, but doing these little things, making sure that when it's in storage, it's at the right state of charge, making sure we're not over discharging it or overcharging it.
Each one of these, which makes them, one of the reasons why they work so well, they have something called a battery management system, or a BMS, which I have no clue what that is or what it does. I just know that it's very important.
And it really is. It's the interface between the battery and the rest of the mechanism. And it has jobs like balancing the cells. It prevents overcharging, it prevents over discharging, all kinds of overcurrent or short circuit. Thermal, it will manage things if it's too hot or if it's too cold.
So in my language, the BMS is what means I can plug this in and it works. And I don't have to think about it. So it's the brains and it manages it.
Yeah.
So that all I have to do is charge it and use it.
Yes. And there's some very important safety features of the BMS, the battery management system, to make sure that everything stays in bounds. And speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about firmware updates, because sometimes those battery management system chips, they need some updates or they need some corrections or whatever. So you should be able to get an app. Most of these portable power stations now will have an app that you can get, and as part of that app you can manage certain features, but it'll also remind you or let you know if there's a firmware update that you should get. And so making sure that you get those updates just helps with this entire process.
And we need to be careful. Don't ever override or bypass your BMS. It is there for our safety. And while you may be tempted, you may think, oh, you are cooler than this.
And yeah, there's a lot of really more technical people than me out there that have tried to override or bypass the BMS. That's just going into dangerous territory. It's not a good idea. The BMS is there for a reason, and that is to protect us and to protect the integrity of the portable power stations.
Okay, let's kind of sum this up. Best practices, John. If you could say these are the best practices, what would they be?
Just love them. Take care of them. You know, if it gets out and it gets a little dirty, wipe it down so that it can vent properly. Don't drop it. I mean, sometimes things are just going to get bumped around a little bit, and these, for the most part, are pretty rugged. You know, try and take good care of it. The easier we make it on them, the better they make it on us. So yeah, just keeping it clean, keeping it...
Exercise, they need to be taken out for their walks.
Exactly, yeah. Just like a dog, you need to get it out. And that's what we were talking about quarterly. Just pull it out. And you don't have to use it for a long time, but use it for a few minutes to run something, and then charge it back up to that state of charge that you choose to have it in storage. So it's just really a matter of mostly common sense. You know, just take good care of it like you would something that you value, like my wife.
Common sense for him is different than common sense for me. Now, one of the other things is make sure that you're using the appropriate manufacturer recommended cables for these, and because that's really important. There's some that are designed to use with your power station, and that's the best that you can do.
So let's wrap this up real quick. There's 5 main things that we talked about here, and that is the right temperature, the right depth of discharge, the right state of charge when it's in storage, not using the turbo mode unless you need it, and it's there for a reason, but if you don't need it, then don't use that, and then not fighting the BMS, making sure the BMS can do its job so that it takes care of the machine and takes care of you when you need it most.
Power stations are an incredible asset for whether you're playing in the backyard, you're camping, or during an emergency. It is incredible the difference that having a good power station can make. Now, if you want to have some really fun conversation and geek out with another geek, comment below. Ask John all of your questions, and he will be very happy to speak that language and to talk all about the proper care and feeding of power stations.
Now, for those of you who have a power station that you haven't seen for a long time, this is your call to action right now. Get that thing out, make sure it's working, get it charged up to the right state of charge, put it in your calendar to do it again in 3 months, or maybe more frequently if that works better for you. But get that on a calendar so that you actually get this done, so that your power station can stay healthy and make you happy when you need it most.
And if you want to be motivated, why don't you just get it out, charge it up, and use the blender to make yourself a chocolate milkshake. And that would be a great reward for both you and the power station.
Absolutely.
Put your comments below, and as always, thanks for being part of the solution.